We have two Monday Night Football games on this September the 23rd card. I'm excited for this card. It's been a great weekend here on the channel. This is the free three. I've got a few best bets for you in each of the Monday Night Football games here in the NFL. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? It's your boy Noble Living back with another DYF Bets video where I'm breaking down my favorite picks and plays of the day. I'm just trying to get to the bag together and we're just trying to make that money. Over the weekend, we had a great day. If you tapped into the channel over the weekend on Friday, we had a great day. On Saturday, I gave you a quick blitz reel. It went great. Also went out there in Clemson, had a great time. Great atmosphere out there in Clemson University. First time being out there. And then on Sunday, I did a quick little live stream 20-30 minutes before game time. I think I might start doing that on Sundays. Maybe around like 12 o'clock, do a live stream. Let me know if you guys would like that. Where I'm breaking down the plays and how I'm searching for some of these plays, going through the slate. Overall, it was a great weekend here on the channel. On Friday, 2-1. We got two of the college football best bets right. Kyle McCord pass yards, Ashton Daniel rush yards. It's tough to see Syracuse lose that game, but we got those props right. We did lose on the Braves run line. They lost outright. So that's why we're not touching baseball right now, right? We're chilling out on it. We have a good record right there. 20 games above 500. We might as well let that chill out for right now. Saturday, we had a 5-1 day on the channel. Nussmeier pass yards from LSU, no sweat. Army spread, no sweat. Michigan State spread, they got it done. Indiana crushed Charlotte. We took their spread and their team total. We were able to get that done. Only loss was in our two-team steam on the USC money line and Tennessee first half money line, and then USC on money line was also in our parlay of the day. I did not count that towards the record just because it's like a plus 1,000 parlay. I really just did that as a giveaway, but I'm gonna start doing those more if you guys like that. The two-team steam that I had with USC money line, tough to see them lose like that. They had the pressure there on Michigan, but shout out to Michigan for making the necessary changes and getting that done. So it should be a good season there in the Big Ten. Excited to see what happens. And then on Sunday, we did the live stream, and yesterday should have been a better day, not gonna lie. 5-4 on the day yesterday. Cortland Sutton reception yards, we got right. Devontae Smith receptions, we got that right. Alvin Kamara longest rush, we got that right. Chris Olave, we got that right. 3 of those bets were in the Eagles games. Guys, we're 9-0 on Eagles picks this year. 9-0 on Eagles picks this year. I'm talking about picks in the Eagles games, so don't sleep on that. Chiefs spread, we also got that right. That was the 5 wins of the day, even though they kind of got hoed, and the Falcons did. That was a pass interference, but hey, I'm not mad at it. The teaser, I got cute. I added the Bucks in there, and I really like the Eagles and the Vikings, right? And I added the Bucks. That bit me in the ass. I had a feeling there was a trap game out there, and I bit the bait. I lost on the Bucks in that 3-team teaser. We lost on CJ Stroud's pass attempts. That's also disappointing because he had 31. We only need him to get 33, and David Mills came in the game and threw it 12 times. So CJ Stroud stays in the game. We go over. That hurts. Kyle Pitts, we're done with him. He's just Kirk Cousins not even looking his way. And then Matthew Stafford's pass attempts. If you took his yards, you would have been good, which I talked about on the live stream, but I officially give out the pass attempts, so not too bad. So 12-6 officially on the weekend. Sorry for the long recap, but I just wanted to kind of go through some of the picks for even some of the people who are newer here and they're like, wow, I didn't know, Noble, you dropped picks on the weekend because I only see these types of videos. We got the reels, we got some different things coming on the way, so make sure you guys just smash that subscribe button. Make sure you guys are staying tuned into the channel because we've been having a good start to the month of February, and let's keep the momentum going and let's dive into these winners for today's games. For my first best bet of the day, let us head over to the Jacksonville matchup as they're taking on the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are at home in this matchup, and this is a good, interesting game here because we have a scenario that we're going to see in both matchups, which is a team that is 0-2 that is very desperate to pick up a win against a team that has a win underneath their belt, and in the case of the Bills that are undefeated 2-0. The Jacksonville Jaguars are in a must-win situation. Very hard to fall back 0-3 and make the playoffs. I think I read a stat that only 125 teams in like the last 25-30 years have made the playoffs after dropping 0-3. So it's just not something that you want. And when you can see how close the Jaguars have been to their victories, both of their losses were less than 1 possession games, that lets you know like they were right there. They just have to get over the hump. They got to figure a few things out. In their opening game against the Dolphins, they lost that game 20-17. There was a few things that Trevor Lawrence could have done a little bit better, I think, and in my opinion. His accuracy has been the biggest issue. 12 of 21 in the game 1 against the Dolphins, 14 of 30 in game 2 against the Browns. That's not going to get it done. That's damn near 50% completion rate, and that's just not going to help you. Now, I think one of the big reasons why that is because some of the confident pieces that Trevor Lawrence is used to, he has some new weapons there, such as Gabe Davis, such as Brian Robinson Jr., and he's been trying to stretch the field a little bit, and I think he's been doing that a little bit too much. I think we have to get back to some of the old Doug Peterson football back from the Eagles today. Shout out to the Birds, where we're talking about slants, we're talking about screen passes. You got guys like Christian Kirk, who's barely been involved in the offense, and you got to get them going here. That is the key. Now, this is a Bills team on the other side who's 2-0, picking up key wins against the Cardinals and the Dolphins. Now, that Dolphins game is one that you have to take a grain of salt with. Why? Because Tua left that game with that head injury, and they faced the backup quarterback Skylar Thompson. And I was looking at this one stat from the game, which basically kind of showed that the game was closer than most people would think, because they won that game 31-10. But when you look at the yardage, when you look at the field position for the Dolphins, they were moving the ball. They were just not able to convert, and they had gotten down early to where they didn't need to kick field goals anymore. They needed to score touchdowns. So they were making the risk going for it on 4th down, which means that, hey, they just weren't converting, but they were still able to move against this defense. That is the point of concern that I have. This Bills defense, they're scrappy, but they've shown that they're susceptible to getting scored on or yards put up against them. We saw that in game 1 against the Cardinals, when the Cardinals dropped 28 points on them. So there's a lot that's at stake in this game, and so far, you guys know I'm gonna do a teaser. That's what I'm doing this year, guys. I like the teasers. Any side that I go with the teaser, for the most part, because I'm never gonna cross the 0, is the side that I lean in the game, right? So for the teaser that I'm gonna take, we're gonna take the Jaguars up from 5.5 up to 11.5. And we're going to take the total, and we're going to take the under 52. Now, I'm seeing a lot of people, that's the standard minus 120 odds on that. I'm seeing a lot of people on the over here, and it makes sense because of how explosive both of these offensives can be. The Bills are 1-0 to the over at home, but the Jaguars are 0-2 to the over, so 2-0 to the under so far this year, and they haven't shown me anything that gives me confidence that they're going to be able to move the ball like with any type of efficiency. Only 13 points against the Browns, who literally just got scored like 26 points on by the Giants. Come on now, like that's a little bit of a point of concern, but because they're 0-2, they know that they're in that desperation mode. Something has to change. I'm not willing to weigh the full 5.5 points here, but I do think the Jaguars are able to keep this one close. 11.5 points gets me over that touchdown hurdle that I'm looking for, even that touchdown hurdle and a field goal. 11.5 points, I'm taking that, the under 52. I do think that we get some offense here, so if you do want to take the over 40 or 39.5 where the total's at right now, I'm not opposed to that. I think for me, I just have to bank on the fact that the Jaguars are not going to score a lot of points, and even if they do lose this game, this could easily be like a 28-20 type of game, 21-17, 21-13, right? But like the last 7 points were scored in garbage time, right? Like that's what I kind of see from this game. Going to be a scrappy atmosphere, but right now the Jaguars have to show me that they're comfortable with these new pieces, and it's the same thing on the Bills side. Josh Allen, this is a game where he's going to play hero ball, and as a result, I don't think that he's comfortable with his offensive weapons that much either, which is why we've seen him do a little bit more, and James Cook had the huge explosion game last game, but he hasn't had to depend on his new wide receivers just yet, which is why I still lean towards the under here. Now, speaking about Josh Allen, he's the player prop that I'm going to take into this matchup here, and I love him today, and I'm going to do kind of like a half unit split, okay? So I'm going to take Josh Allen anytime touchdown for like half a unit. Then I'm also going to do the over 1.5 pass yards for half a unit. So you can get the anytime touchdown at minus 110 odds. You can get the pass touchdowns at plus 110. I love that. The reason why that is because we've seen Josh Allen run a touchdown in first 2 games, so that you know he's always a threat for that. He's still not all the way dependent on these wide receivers like I mentioned. So as a result, he might want to take things into his own hands, especially if they get down. And when you look at the Jaguars, they gave up a rushing touchdown last week to Deshaun Watson. So that gives me confidence in this thing as well. Tua is not really a running quarterback, so I wasn't expecting him to, but they gave up a running touchdown to Devon Achane in game 1. So that's something to keep in mind. So again, they are susceptible to the run, but Josh Allen, when it comes down to the passing side, he only had 1 passing touchdown last week, but he had 2 passing touchdowns in game 1. So for me, we know he can throw the ball. We know James Cook is somebody that can get a screen pass, can go out for a wheel route. So there's so many different ways that this offense can get you. And for me, both of these bets can cash, and we can still cash the under, right? Like that's the beautiful part about the football, right? It's like Josh Allen's that focal point of this offense. I don't know if this is a James Cook type of game in all honesty. Weakness right now of this Jaguars team is that secondary. So we've seen them give up yards through the air, and I think that could happen again today. But either side, I like half and half on this. We're not laying too much juice on either side, and obviously we get one at plus value. So one can cancel one another out, or we can go 2-0 on this and cash in pretty easy on that. So let's go with this for our second best bet of the day, our player prop of this game. All right, so game 1 of Monday Night Football is done. Let's go to game 2 real quick. Bengals and the Commanders, same situation, down 0-2. This is when the Bengals respond. I'm taking them -1 on the teaser. We're going to bump the over to 40. We're going that -120 odds. I'll give you a longer breakdown with the Jaguars and the Bills. Why? Because this Bengals pick just makes sense. This is a matchup disparity. The Bengals are the better team. They've just started off the season very rough, okay? Joe Burrow obviously has to be better, but at the same time, he has not had a fully healthy squad just yet, but they get it back today. Why? Because T. Higgins is back. Obviously, Jamar Chase has been there, and he's been like, really trying to get the ball, trying to get a touchdown, but T. Higgins is back, the number 2 receiver. That helps out big time, coming off of a huge emotional loss last week against the Chiefs, which is tough because the Chiefs were at home, but they played tough in that game. 26-25, you can't be too mad at it. A game-winning field goal, that's a part of the game. Now, game 1 against the Patriots, that was a gut punch, but obviously that can happen in game 1 when you're not prepared, or when you have things that were going on in the offseason, like contract disputes with Jamar Chase, people holding out. But now you've had 2-3 weeks under your belt. This is not unfamiliar territory for the Bengals, right? When you look at some of the things that's been happening over the last few years, last year, they started off the season 0-2. The year before that, they started off the year 0-2. Actually, when you look at it, Joe Burrow has played in 6 games in his NFL career after losing 2 games in a row, and the Bengals are 5-0-1 against the spread in those games. So basically undefeated in just 1 push. So he's covered in 71% of the games in his career coming off a loss. I'm not willing to weigh the 7.5, but I do think they win this game. Now, if the Commanders beat this team outright, now things are looking real crazy. This is a team with a lot of expectations in Cincinnati. People are talking about Super Bowl with this team. You cannot lose to a Commanders team that has the number 2 draft pick at quarterback. Now, that's why I lean towards the over, because Jaden Daniels is good enough to create explosive plays. He can take off on his feet. Brian Robinson, if they give him a heavy dose of the ball, he can be able to be strong. And there's just some question marks on the defensive line for the Bengals right now, dealing with several injuries there. So I do lean towards the over, because I believe that the Commanders can keep this game close, and they have the ability to score some points here. But the Bengals have to win this game. There's like no other analysis to it. They have to win this game. They cannot start the season 0-3. Like I mentioned, it's just so hard, such an uphill grind, and they're in such a tough division with teams like Kansas City that they have to face on the regular. You can't lose to a team like the Commanders here. Even if they win by a field goal, I'm taking them. I'm taking the over. That's how we're breaking this one down. Now, because I believe that this is a must situation, you have to lean on your best player. You have to lean on the guy who's led you here, and that's Mr. Joe Burrow himself. And I know this number is high, but we're going to go over 34.5 pass attempts, -110 odds. Now, when I was looking for this bet, I was trying to figure out what angle makes sense, right? Now, Joe Burrow, when you look at his numbers, like I said, he's used to being down 0-2 to start a season. And actually 3 times in his career, he started off the season 0-2. But let's look at how he's played in week 3 following that 0-2 start. Last year against the Rams, 26 of 49 for 259 yards. The year before that against the Jets, 23 of 36 for 275 yards. The third time that he started off was back in 2020, and then that game was against the Eagles, 31 of 44 for 312 yards. 0-2, your back's against the wall. You go to the guy who helped you get here, why you drafted him, number 1. You lean on him, you depend on him, you give him the rock. He's gone over the total 3 times. There's no doubt in it. I just gave you the numbers in his career that he is against the spread when he's lost 2 games in a row. There's no doubt in my mind that they're going to lean on Joe Burrow very heavily here. This is a Commanders defense that's ranked in the bottom 10 defensively in terms of passing. And as a result, Joe Burrow, with the now fresh and healthy T. Higgins, I believe that he's going to get a heavy dose of it. They're going to throw the ball a lot. I'm not saying that I do lean like over the 1.5 pass touchdowns, things like that as well. I like Jamar Chase anytime touchdown. I think Zach Moss can still get into the end zone, like when we get into that red zone area. But I think that this is a game that's going to depend on on Joe Burrow. And this is also, I think, a statement win for them too. I don't think he comes out this game early unless he's been dealing with some undiagnosed injury. Like I know they've been asking about his wrist and his hand inside of the media a little bit, and he's been saying he's fine. So unless it's something like that, like I see that this is going to be a game that the Bengals are going to utilize to get their confidence just really all the way ramped back up. And after a disappointing start to the season so far, so give me the Bengals, give me the pass attempts here as our fourth and final pick of the day. Well, that's it for me today, my friends. 4 best bets on this Monday Night Football card. In the first game between the Jaguars and the Bills, we're going to bump the Jaguars up on the teaser, and then we're going to also take the under in that matchup. I believe that Josh Allen's going to be a big focal point in tonight's game, so I'm taking this anytime touchdown, but I'm also sprinkling a little bit on the over 1.5 passing touchdowns as well. And then in the second game between the Commanders and the Bengals, this is a must-win situation for the Bengals, so I'm taking that in a teaser, and then I also am going to lean towards the over. I'm going to get that one a little bit lower there from a totals perspective. And then Mr. Joe Burrow, the ball is in your hands, son. You got to make it come through for this Bengals team. Let's see what can happen in tonight's Monday Night Football matchups. I like the 2 games on Monday. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, let's get to that money. I appreciate all the love and support. Hopefully you guys have been cashing on the channel with us. And let me know what you guys are taking as always, so this way we can continue to cash in and beat the sportsbooks together. Right, my friends? Let's get to that chat. I'll see you on tomorrow's video. Later, gang.